This is for my DMs. Now, what's up, everyone? It's Flame Revolution with one half of it. My name is Nicole Peretti. I am a mentor, a coach, a badass human, and I really wanted to get into this because wow, twin flames are going through some initiations right now, especially in union. Woo, it was like everybody was going along. There was balance and harmony, and then 2021 came, and it was like, Mayday, you need to have more faith and trust. So in that, you are going to get triggered to every friggin' level possible. Everything in you that does not trust yourself, each other, and God will be brought to the surface. Good luck. And when it started to happen, it's like you're not aware of it. It's only in hindsight where you're like, oh, you building my backbone. You building me up. And so trusting self. And so I really wanted to focus on the divine masculine today because I think you need some love. My man, my women, my they. You know, beautiful souls out there. You know, the divine masculine has been for a while now taking hits, you know, and part of it's because you are actually cleaning up the stuff you've done in the past. We're cleaning up the patriarchy. We're cleaning up those things. But it can be very easily translated as, you know, taking on so much shame because all divine masculines are horrible. And there are people out there saying that, right? So this isn't coming just from me. This is coming from what I'm watching out there, from activists to leaders to, you know, public figures. They're seeing this deep hatred. And with that, I see that there would be no change if that's the way we treated one another. I also understand that there's a lot of pain and wounding from, you know, some of the things that the DMs have done in lifetimes. And so that's the piece. That's the piece. Our past needs to be cleaned up for us to trust ourselves now. If we know what we've done in the past and we don't clean that up, we were doomed to repeat. We know we will repeat, right? And so this finding, wow, have you ever seen a man that trusts himself? Or a divine masculine woman that trusts themselves? Oh, it's not like this. It's like, ooh, you walk into a room, you know who you are. You know who you are because you know. It doesn't matter if anybody else knows, but you know. And then there's a level of compassion that you have for yourself, which means that there's a level of compassion that you have for others, your beloved. Right? It kind of pulls away from envy. It pulls the envy out. It pulls the jealousy out. It pulls the control mechanisms out. Because if you know who you are, there's nothing else in these men. You could just be. And so we're headed in that direction. But in that, there's all these parts of the DM. There's all these parts in there that are being looked at. The toxic parts. The parts that act out to protect oneself. The parts that are shutting the heart down because I'm not going to let you hurt me. Or maybe I cheat on you and I do all these things that hurt you first so that if it doesn't work out, I was the one who did it, so I'm in control of the whole situation. How many of you know what I'm talking about? If you know what I'm talking about, put amen. And maybe some of the DFs understand this. Maybe I actually know some DFs that know what I'm talking about right now, that you've been there. And it's been hard to commit. And that's easier to run astray, run off, right? And so as you guys are going through this initiation, I know that when I look at my own father, or I look at men in my life, especially older generations, they want to feel needed, right? They want to feel needed. And to allow yourself to feel needed, you must also trust yourself so that you can receive what people are saying. Because when you don't trust yourself and people are like, you're amazing, you're this, you're that, you can't actually hear it. It will be muffled. It will be, they could be, I love you. And you're like, you're a piece of shit. That's the way it sounds to you, right? Like I remember when I first met Dov and she was just like, I love you so much. And I felt so bad about myself. I didn't believe her. It was unbelievable to me. And so, okay, woo! How do we build self-esteem? We do esteemable things. I used to love when people said that. I also hated when people said that because I was having a really hard time doing esteemable things. My toolbox was, let me tell you what my toolbox was. My toolbox was, I'm about to have a good thing happen to me. I'm too scared to lose it or to not get it. So I'm going to blow it up. So I pick up sabotage, do something crazy, get really, really drunk, don't show up for something and lose my job, end up in trouble. And so that was like my first tool. My second tool was perfectionism. I'm going to be so perfect. You will love me. I'm going to be so freaking perfect. You will love me. Then I can't be perfect. And then I go back to sabotage. Other tool, right? About to get something really good in my life, or something really awkward happens in my life, or something that I don't want to face starts to come up. And so I drink or drug or pick up a relationship or pick up many relationships or just have sex and try to get out of my experience for the time being. How many of you guys know what I'm talking about? Say amen, aho. Let's make this interactive, right? All these tools, all these things that we have, that we bring to the table, right? Just like pushing people away, telling people we don't love them when we love them, right? Starting fights so we can run off and not face our life, right? All these different things, we have to witness them. Come on, DMs. I used to say certain things about myself. This is just who I am, right? I am not a one-woman man or a one-man woman. No, just kidding. But I was like, nope. When I was the most monogamous human, I was monogamous, but I was like, nope, I'm not, because if I can't give up all this, because if I commit to one person, it's more likely if I open my heart that you're going to hurt me. Right? And so looking at self, looking at where we run, looking at where we resist when we really don't want to do those things. Start to look at your choices and start to see if the choices actually align with what you want. You would be like, of course it does. Sometimes it does not. Sometimes it does not align with what you actually want. You will do the complete opposite. I remember when Dov told me this story of how bad when she was a child, she wanted a bath. And she's like, I want a bath to her mom, and her mom's on the phone, and it was like landline days. And she's like, I want a bath. And then her mom was on the phone for like a really long time. By the time she got off, she was like, I don't want that bath. I don't want it. When deep down, you want it. How many of you say you don't want something because you're afraid you're going to get hurt, and you really, really want it? See, these things that are in the shadows, these parts of self needs to be uncovered for you to recover the freaking highest version of yourself, the best version of yourself. We have to get honest. My DMs getting honest. And I know many of my DMs getting so freaking honest with themselves that they're broken on the floor, right? Their will is just broken for a second. We're like, oh my God, I do those things. There's been so many times where like, I just had to get leveled just to look at it all. Sabotage was my story. Perfectionism was my story. Addiction was my story. Running was my story. All of those things were my story. Many of you have parts of my story. You know what I'm talking about. I had to get honest with these pieces. Because once I started to get honest, guess what happens with honesty? What does it equal? Trust. Honesty breeds trust. If you can get honest with yourself, you can trust yourself. I didn't say you have to get honest with anybody else. I'm telling you, you have to get honest with you. And if you get honest with you, you get to learn how to get honest with others. Then there's the communication piece. And this isn't always easy from my DMs. This is not always easy to communicate feelings, right? It's for a long time now that's like, don't go too deep in your feelings. Don't get too emotional, man. Don't be too dramatic. I mean, this is for women as well. Right? And for this is for all y'all. It's like, don't do that when those are the things that need to be communicated. I remember the first time I told my wife that, like, not like the wrath of Nicole, where I'm like, like I'm angry. I remember the first time I realized that was just like the secondary piece to what I was really feeling, and my feelings were hurt. And I grew up with two brothers and a very, very macho daddy. It was very hard for me to admit, because we don't admit No retreat, no surrender was like some of the shit that we talked about in my family. Like, you don't surrender. You don't admit that. You take it to the grave. You stand strong. You don't let anybody see you're weak. And I mean, it just like felt awful. It was coming out of my mouth, but then I cried instead of rage. And I communicated, and it was received better than my rage. It was received better by my wife when I got honest. It doesn't always work. You know, sometimes it's like, she's mad too. And then it could be like, I'm hurt. Like, you hurt me too. We're human. Okay, we're human. I'm just trying to humanize myself in front of you and let you know that, you know, just because I'm standing up here and I'm smiling and I'm, you know, bringing a little bit of humor into this, that it's not painful. And so communication, when we learn to communicate our needs, our feelings, what's going on, guess what happens? Guess what that equals? Trusted self. Yes. 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 And I just want to honor like the two things that I just said, right? About honesty and communication. I just want to honor all of you that those things are, if they're hard for you, right? Those were hard for me, right? I have compassion for myself today that those things were hard for me. It wasn't like second nature for me to communicate my feelings or to be in my feelings or to be honest with myself. I lied to myself for so long so that I wouldn't, you know, so that I would actually be okay. Right? We don't lie to ourselves for any other reason that at some time in our life or still that it worked for us. Right? A little ignorance keep me from looking at myself, and if I look at myself, I think I'll die. And so, you know, I'm bringing up the compassion piece because when we look back in the past of what the divine masculine has allowed on this planet or has been involved in, there's a lot there. There's a lot of pain. There's a lot of shame. And the only way to move forward and to shift and to bring forth those things is to heal that, to honor that, even what our ancestors went through. We may not have lived that, maybe we did in a past life, but to honor our ancestors, to honor the ones that did a great job, and to honor even the ones that may have failed or felt that they failed, or maybe they missed their mark. Or maybe they were sad before they died. Maybe they didn't get to where they wanted to be. Maybe they felt like they lost in that life. Honoring that part of you, DM. That is so important. And then the last thing I'm going to say is there is a part to all of you that I like to call the peaceful warrior. The peaceful warrior dragon, right? Even in Eastern medicine, there's these accessing these energies, these dragon energies in the energy fields. And there's the peaceful warrior, the one that is the protector, but also the one that sits with the kids and speaks about truths and brings peace to the earth. That's you. You are the protector, and you also are the the guardian and the guider of the next generations. That's your essence. That's your essence. That's your essence. That's my essence. And it's been a really long time that we haven't fully embraced it. We deserve to embrace it, to love that part of ourselves and allow that part to move forward. And so we have to trust ourselves. When we trust ourselves, we start to trust each other. When we trust each other, we start to trust God. When we trust God, we trust everything. And it's being built within us. And so DM, I'm just sending you love. I'm holding space for your transformation and transmutation. And when I say transmutation, I think of the pain of the DNA shifting, cellular change and mental change and holding yourself in high regard, holding and standing with your freaking chest out, allowing yourself to be who you are, to be who you truly are. You know, being honest, communicating who you are, expressing yourself, and being that light, that peaceful warrior for the planet. And I got more of that peaceful warrior dragon energy that's coming, because I got some ideas that Spirit's bringing in, because I love that. I don't have any hair there, but it's like if I did. That's how I'm going to end the video. So we're going to end it with me and my fake goatee. Sending you all love, even my DFs. I love you all. Thank you for being here. Please share, please like, please subscribe, and I will see you so soon.